I bet you didn't know that every Nintendo game exists in the same universe. When it comes to video games, some people become totally obsessed, delving into the philosophy, the history, and the hidden meanings behind the games that they play.
Hello, Matthew Santoro fans. Welcome to Game Theories.
No, Matt Pat. This is my video. I'm gonna take this one.
Oh. Okay, sorry. Please continue.
Anyway, some of these game theories might sound crazy at first, but when we actually dive into them, they might just flip everything you thought you knew about your favorite games upside down. These are 10 mind-blowing video game theories, part 2. Number 1 is Kirby 64's post-nuclear war Earth. Aw, cute little Kirby. Who wouldn't love a little pink marshmallow friend who could swallow anyone that they want whole? And maybe you could have one if you could survive a nuclear war, of course. The Kirby games were designed to be joyous and fun, but that doesn't mean that it doesn't tell a dark story. In Kirby 64, the Crystal Shards, you get to control the little hungry blob as he moves along a level called the Shiver Star, which looks exactly like Earth, only completely covered in ice and full of automated robots that the now dead human race left to run the factories. Thus, the theory is, after a massive world war in which humans fought the machines, a nuclear winter blanketed the planet and killed everyone. But many animals survived and evolved from the radiation into Kirby's enemies. In fact, at one point in a level, animals suspended in preservation tubes can be seen, showing that humans had intended to use their DNA to save species from being wiped out. Unfortunately, Kirby has entered the equation, and it tends to hop around and consume whatever's left behind. He's literally eating our legacy. Number 2 is every Legend of Zelda game is one story being retold. Have you ever played a game of telephone? You know, where you whisper a message to someone and then they whisper it to someone, and on until eventually you hear it back and it's something completely different? Well, one theory suggests that's basically how the Legend of Zelda games work. The theory says that every game from the original Legend of Zelda to Breath of the Wild is all one story, being told to different generations in different cultures. Every one of them revolves around a young sword and shield toting boy in green, venturing far and wide in a quest to defeat the evil that plagues the land. Though many of the stories are obviously told with more detail, the main points remain constant enough that, told in their simplicity, each story sounds very familiar. And there's an evolved version of this theory that says that Super Mario Bros. Is actually the same story, only with brothers fighting the monsters instead of a single boy. Zelda and Mario Bros. Are the same people? What's happening? Number 3 is Donkey Kong Country is anti-American propaganda. This theory suggests that Donkey Kong Country is chock full of anti-American disinformation created by designers upset with America over the Banana Wars, which took place in the early 1900s. Controversially, during that time, the US military helped the United Fruit Company to absorb and overthrow rival companies in the Caribbean and Central America. Basically, the theory suggests that Donkey Kong's country is actually a Caribbean state like Nicaragua or Honduras, who are being invaded for their bananas. Crocodiles, the main enemies in the game, don't eat bananas, so they must be stealing them for another purpose, such as gaining a monopoly. Many of them are found to be wearing old American military uniforms, and near the end of the game, you battle King K. Rool, the leader of the crocodiles, who resembles Teddy Roosevelt, who was president during the Banana Wars. Okay, speaking of bananas, this whole thing is bananas. Losing it already. Number 4 is there's a body in your trunk in Silent Hill 2. In Silent Hill 2, you play as James as he deals with the horrible creatures roaming around a dark town. Now, spoiler alert, what you come to realize is that our hero pretty much deserves what's happening to him based on the fact that he murdered his wife. More specifically, he murdered his sick, dying wife because she was kind of a burden on his life. Out of the game's 6 possible endings, the one that is considered to be the official ending is called In the Water. In this ending, James commits suicide by driving his car into a lake after witnessing an illusion of his wife dying in her sickbed. However, many fans of the game have theorized that James's wife's corpse was actually in the trunk of the car, and when he says out loud, "Now we can be together," he means it literally. After the scene where his wife passes away, he gently picks her up and carries her out of the room before things fade to black, hinting that her next destination may be in the car with James. The whole idea is that he's been repressing what he did, and the ghosts make him aware of it, along with where his wife is now, in the trunk. Number 5 is the Madden Curse. This theory leaves the video game world a bit and incorporates digital characters as well as their ill-fated real-world counterparts. The Madden Curse is a legend within both the gaming and football-loving communities. Basically, any NFL player who's featured on the cover of that year's Madden NFL video game is cursed to suffer an injury. It started with San Francisco 49ers running back Garrison Hurst, who graced the cover of Madden NFL 99. Shortly afterwards, Hurst broke his ankle during a game. But that's not all. Since then, of the 18 players featured on the cover, 16 have had their seasons abruptly cut short due to an injury. Many of these injuries caused players serious issues and negatively impacted their performance for the rest of their careers. And some of these injuries occurred merely days after the game became available. The only players seemingly unaffected by the curse were Calvin Johnson on Madden NFL 13 and Odell Beckham Jr. on Madden NFL 16. Good luck to them both. Number 6 is You Play as the Villain in Limbo. Released by the independent studio Playdead on July 21st, 2010, Limbo seems like something out of a child's nightmare. You play as a nameless boy looking for his sister as he moves along a terrifying black and white landscape while monstrous enemies and deadly traps try to stop him. While the most popular theory suggests that the boy is literally in purgatory or limbo, another theory adds to this idea, as many believe that the boy is actually the villain and suggest that he actually murdered his sister and that's why his purgatory is so scary. To prove it, every other child that you run into in the game runs upon sight of you. Some of them even throw spears to defend against your push into their fortress grounds. Other areas see you kill monsters in unexpectedly gruesome ways, like tearing off limbs one at a time. Some people believe that this is the boy lashing out after what he did to cause his own sisters and maybe even his own death. Number 7 is Saddam Hussein bought all the PS2s. Okay, this one might sound crazy, but follow me. In December of 2000, millions of people were trying to get their hands on the PlayStation 2 console, and most of them were out of luck. This theory claims that that bad luck is actually due to the now deceased Iraqi dictator Saddam Hussein, who attempted to buy as many as possible so that he could, get this, take over the world. When the United Nations placed sanctions on any computer technology being sent to Iraq, they forgot to include Sony's PlayStation 2 on the banned list. It was suggested that through the use of thousands of PS2s, Saddam was going to create a super weapon that could control vehicles and operate weapons with systems that could only run on superior technology to what they already had. The theory also suggests that the processing power of 12 to 15 networked PlayStations may actually be enough to handle powering an unmanned aerial vehicle or UAV. As if that wasn't enough, another use of a supercomputer made from PS2s would be to handle distance calculations for long-range nuclear missiles. Of course, as his regime fell, no PlayStation military supercomputer was there to defend him, yet the rumors still live on. Number 8 is Aerith wasn't supposed to die in Final Fantasy VII. In Final Fantasy VII, one of the most famous and absorbing video games of our time, you encounter a character named Aerith who, sadly, dies during the game. A popular theory states that she was never supposed to be killed, and her death was a last-minute add-on by designers. Part of the evidence sits in the instruction booklet itself, with images of Aerith in a scene that never made it to the actual game. Additionally, her absence is pretty noticeable all over the game itself, with one character mentioning that she would come back, and an empty section where she would have been standing during the game's finale. As the main character Cloud, a large section of the game is devoted to making a choice between showing affection towards either Aerith or his childhood friend Tifa. Once Aerith dies, the implications of these choices are never shown, and the whole matter is dropped pretty fast by the characters. No matter what decisions that the player makes, she inevitably dies at the hands of the villain Sephiroth. Number 9 is Max Payne Sees Ghosts. In the game Max Payne, you control the title protagonist Max, an ex-NYPD officer who is constantly tormented by the memory of his murdered wife and baby daughter. In Max Payne 3, Max essentially becomes a drug-addicted vigilante on a killing spree in Sao Paulo, Brazil. During the campaign, however, he encounters Anders Detling, another ex-cop, multiple times. Detling gives him clues about his mission, but one theory says that this cop isn't real at all, but is a hallucination that Max is having due to his dependence on alcohol and painkillers. The idea becomes even more believable when you factor in that Anders has the life that Max could have had, having settled down with a family, not fighting to survive. Anders also mentions having a daughter that would have been the same age as Max's daughter had his not been murdered years ago. In addition, Anders also seems pretty out of place in some of the game's locations that he's in, and it seems especially surprising that each time it's during a major game event. Also, at one point during a shootout, Anders hides in a toilet stall only to vanish into thin air when Max opens the stall door. And number 10 is the Nintendo Universe. Okay, this one's the motherlode. There is a world-changing, mind-bending theory that claims that the entire Nintendo library of original games is all in one universe. Okay, follow me on this one. It says that Hylia, the goddess from the Zelda games, along with Furore, Din, and Nehru, created the universe, complete with Pokemon who would evolve into the creatures in the Animal Crossing series, Earthbound, and Fossil Fighters, just to name a few. Eventually, the creatures move to space and we get titles such as Star Fox and Metroid. And eventually, this all ultimately leads to Earth's demise in an apocalyptic war involving aliens and demons such as in the Kid Icarus games. During the fallout, brothers Mario and Luigi fall down a pipe from our world and end up in the sewers from the original Mario Bros. Game with mutated animals coming out of the pipes. A nuclear winter then takes over the planet, and that's where we get the Kirby series as we originally discussed in number 1 on this list. What? Damn Nintendo, that's one crazy plot. Just childhood ruined, I can't. So those were 10 mind-blowing video game theories, part 2.
So, question of the day is, do you know any other video game theories that deserve to be on this list? If so, leave your response below and I'll be reading through them and I'll pin the best one to the top.
You just had to get one more line in there just once more, didn't you, Matt Pat?
Yeah, the whole theory thing, it's kinda what I do.
But thank you guys so much for coming by today, and a special thanks to Matt Pat for helping me out in this episode. Remember to come back here tomorrow and every weekday at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time because I'll have a brand new video for you. I will see you then.